So let's dive into one of the most unintentionally hilarious pieces of streaming television I've seen in a long time. We're talking about an episode of With Love, Meghan that was supposed to feel warm, polished, and aspirational, but somehow turned into a masterclass in secondhand embarrassment. And the best part, the star of the show isn't even Meghan Markle. Nope. The real spotlight belongs to her guest, Tan France, who somehow manages to steal the entire episode simply by being normal. I mean, imagine that. A guy shows up, acts like himself, and in doing so, he exposes just how awkward, staged, and painfully curated everything around him is. Stick with me until the end, because I promise you, this is one of those breakdowns where every minute just gets funnier, cringier, and honestly kind of sad. And hey, before we get rolling, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive. Seriously, you're not going to want to miss what I've got lined up next. Alright, so let's set the scene. Meghan decides to welcome Tan into her world with what she probably thought was a heartfelt gesture. Instead of a simple hello, she hands him a stack of picture books. And right on top of that stack, her own book, The Bench. Now, if you don't know, The Bench isn't really a children's book in the traditional sense. It's basically a love poem to Prince Harry dressed up with watercolour illustrations. Sweet, maybe, if you're Harry. But as a gift to someone you barely know, it's not just unusual. It feels almost like product placement disguised as generosity. And you can see Tan, ever the polite gentleman, smile and accept it graciously. But the vibe, immediately awkward. It's like if you invited someone over for dinner and instead of serving food, you just handed them your resume. Right off the bat, you know we're in for an episode dripping with self-promotion, forced charm, and more curated lifestyle vibes than an Instagram influencer convention. Now, here's where the contrast begins. Tan enters the kitchen with this relaxed, grounded energy. He's chill, confident, relatable. He's the kind of person who could probably spill coffee all over himself and still look composed. Within minutes, you can tell he doesn't need to put on a show to be likable. Meanwhile, Meghan floats around the kitchen wearing a decorative sweater casually draped over her shoulders, like it's part of the menu. And here's the kicker. She never takes it off. Who cooks with a shawl draped like they're about to head to brunch in the Hamptons? Honestly, it's the most impractical cooking outfit I've ever seen. But for Meghan, the sweater isn't just clothing, it's part of the image. She's not really cooking, she's performing cooking. Now, let's talk about the French toast. Oh, the French toast. This is where things go from awkward to downright comedic. Tan casually mentions that he makes French toast from scratch every morning for his young kids who are 1 and 3 years old. That's not just wholesome, it's authentic. It's a slice of real life. You can't fake a daily routine like that. Then Meghan decides she'll help. And by help, I mean she lightly touches the food like it's a prop and then ruins the whole thing by decorating it with, wait for it, dried flowers. Yes, actual dead flowers sprinkled on top of perfectly good French toast. I don't know about you, but when I sit down to breakfast, the one thing I don't want on my plate is wilted petals. Watching her carefully place those sad, shriveled blooms on Tan's beautiful toast felt like a personal attack on breakfast itself. And Tan, you can almost see the life drain from his face as he watches. He doesn't say anything mean, of course. He's way too classy for that. But his expression tells the entire story. Somewhere deep inside, he's screaming, "Why are we ruining perfectly good food with compost?" And honestly, I felt that in my soul. And this is the pattern of the whole episode. Tan brings realness, authenticity, and warmth. Meghan brings Pinterest board energy. She doesn't seem to actually enjoy what she's doing. Instead, she seems hyper-aware of how it looks on camera. It's less about living the moment and more about curating the moment. Even the editing gives it away. You'll notice sudden zoom-ins, awkwardly stitched voiceovers, and sound bites that feel like they were recorded on a completely different day. The whole thing screams salvaged in post-production. It's like the producers realized halfway through filming that the content wasn't working, so they tried to fix it with editing tricks. Spoiler, it didn't work. And then we get to the crafts. Oh boy, Meghan decides they're going to make aprons for Tan's kids. Cute idea, right? Except his kids are 1 and 3 years old. So when she asks him what their favourite colours are, you can see the polite confusion on his face. Like, lady, my toddler doesn't even know what colours are. He's just trying to figure out how spoons work. Instead of doing something simple like painting with brushes or using stamps, Meghan ups the difficulty level by deciding they should carve shapes into potatoes and stamp them onto fabric. So now you've got Tan, this world-famous fashion expert, hunched over a slimy potato, trying to press out a heart shape onto cloth without it looking like a crime scene. He even grabs a fork at one point, just to try and make the thing functional. And here's the wild part. He still manages to look likeable through all of it. He's laughing, rolling with the absurdity, making it work. Meanwhile, Meghan looks like she's posing for a lifestyle magazine photo shoot. It's not about enjoying the moment. It's about being seen enjoying the moment. And it doesn't stop there. Later, Meghan wraps gifts. Twice. Once at the beginning, once at the end. And it's not even leading to some emotional payoff or big reveal. It's just wrapping paper, ribbons, and scissors. On Netflix. That's the kind of thing you post to your Instagram stories, not anchor a 30-minute episode with. But that's the crux of the problem. The whole show feels like it was built to showcase Meghan existing in curated scenarios. Making coffee, arranging fruit, wrapping boxes, sprinkling petals. It's all set dressing. Pretty, sure, but empty. And this is where Tan becomes the accidental hero of the story. He doesn't need fancy edits or pastel backdrops or dried flowers. He just talks about his family, his daily routines, and the small rituals that make life meaningful. He mentions how his husband bakes bread every day as a way to relax. And Meghan tries to relate, saying her version of that is drinking wine. Which might have been meant as a joke, but honestly, it lands like a brick. It's tone deaf and kind of undercuts the whole wholesome domestic goddess thing she's clearly trying to build. It's like every time Tan offers something genuine, Meghan responds with something that feels rehearsed, overly polished, or just off. And the more it happens, the more the contrast grows. By the end of the episode, it's almost painful to watch. And look, I know what some people are going to say. You're just being harsh. Meghan's trying her best. And sure, maybe she is. But that's the thing. You shouldn't have to try so hard to come across as authentic. If you're really present, really comfortable, and really genuine, people feel that immediately. Tan doesn't have to sell us on anything. Meghan does. And the harder she tries, the less convincing it becomes. By the final scenes, you're not marvelling at Meghan's hosting skills. You're marvelling at how Tan somehow survived the whole ordeal with his charisma intact. He's the one you walk away remembering. He's the one who made the episode entertaining, even if it wasn't on purpose. And honestly, that's the fascinating part. This episode wasn't supposed to be about Tan. It was supposed to spotlight Meghan as this warm, relatable, aspirational figure. But instead, it became a case study in how curated image crumbles the second it's placed next to authenticity. No matter how many lattes you froth or how many petals you sprinkle, you can't fake the kind of effortless connection Tan radiates. So, in the end, what are we left with? A Netflix episode that looks like a lifestyle blog came to life, but somehow forgot to include the actual life part. Meghan wanted to be the star, but Tan walked away as the scene stealer. And that, my friends, is what makes this episode such an unintentional masterpiece of cringe. But hey, maybe that's why we keep watching, not because it's polished or moving or inspiring, but because it's awkward, patchy, and bizarrely fascinating, like watching a simulation glitch in real time. So, what do you think? Did Meghan actually believe dead flowers belonged on French toast? Or was she just fully committed to the aesthetic at any cost? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think about this one, and if you've ever seen a more unintentionally funny cooking scene, share it. Let's get a good laugh going down there. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button if you made it this far, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, the next breakdown, it's even messier than this one.